Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Nyjah. So this video is kind of out of the blue, like they typically are. But today I was in meditation and I got this download or this insight, and I guess this isn't really news to me, but my guides were like, can you just say this so people know what's going on? And it is pertaining to the way that we make money, the way that we view money, and the paradigm shift that is happening right now in the matrix or in the reality that we are living in. So while I was in meditation, I thought back to, I was at the park a few days ago this week, and there was this guy there, this man there. And yeah, he was just hanging out in the park, and I was walking my dog, and so I walked up to him, you know, because I was just on the path, the little walking trail or whatever, and we started talking, and long story short, he made this kind of comment, and he asked me what generation was I, you know, if I was a millennial, Gen X, Gen Z, whatever, whatever, right? He asked me how old I was, um, and he asked me this because he asked me, what do I do? And I told him I make YouTube videos, right? And he kind of made the comment that, oh yeah, I was just curious how old you were because, or I was just curious what generation you're from because my son is a millennial, and he doesn't, he basically was just saying that the younger generation or the next generation, they're kind of lazy and they kind of want everything handed to them on a silver platter. And, you know, I kind of laughed it off and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, okay. But while I was in meditation today, that conversation sprung back up with me and for me. And it sprung back up because my guides wanted me to know and everybody to know that it's not that the next generation or the newer generation don't like to work hard or they want everything handed to them. It's that they are aware, they are conscious, and their minds are open, and they are open and aware to the idea and the fact that the old way that we used to do things is crumbling, okay? It was very masculine, it was very goal-oriented, it was very do, hustle, 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 get this ish done, okay? And for the older generations, that's kind of how life had to be. You know, people had to work hard, people had to have multiple jobs, people had to, you know, make all these sacrifices. Why? Well, if we look historically what was going on in the world, we had World War I, World War II, we had people going to Vietnam, we had, you know, a lot of things happening in our society that caused the people of that era and of that generation to be more productive, to work harder, to do more things, to have more on their plates, to be more ambitious. It was the industrial era, right? People are working in factories and on assembly lines and doing all kinds of stuff, right? And rightfully so, because at that point in time in our society, we didn't have anything built. You know, we needed systems, we needed things, right? And now that we have them, life is supposed to be easier, okay? We've put all these things in place so that life can be easier, so that life can be more fun, more enjoyable, right? And so that, I guess that man's comment kind of triggered me just a little bit, you know, after the fact, because I now am aware that there's nothing wrong with this next generation of people. We are not lazy. We do not want everything handed to us. You know, we do not, we're not lazy. We are aware, okay? We know that we can work smarter, not harder. We do not have to hustle and break our backs to achieve and accomplish the things that our parents wanted to accomplish, right? Maybe our parents had to work multiple jobs and, you know, do all these things, but we now live in a time in society where we're privileged because we can work online and we can make our clients and we can make our work whatever we want to be. And the fact of the matter is, we want people to be in jobs that they love, that they care about, right? Because when we do that, people get the job done better. And I guess to his comment, he was basically saying that we don't like hard work, we don't really want to do anything, we don't really, whatever. But really the truth of the matter is we are aware of the fact that we have permission, we have the right to choose the reality we want to exist in. So if we want to be YouTubers and content creators and make a living that way, we can. And yeah, to the older generation, it is gonna look like, all we do is sit around and make YouTube videos, and we're getting paid oodles and noodles of dollars to do that. But in a way, it's work. We're all picking the work that we want, right? Like even people who really love to help people, when they don't want them to be sick anymore. And so they choose to become doctors. Those people love their work, therefore they're really excellent and great at what they do. So I'm saying all this to say, in the next generation, in the years to come, it's not that the next generation is lazy or they don't want to do anything or they don't like hard work. It's just we're smarter now. We know we can work smarter, not harder. We are allowed to choose the lifestyle that we want to live, and we don't have to fight anybody about it. We don't have to go to war about it. Just choose what you want and do it. If you want to live in a van and travel the country, just do it. If you want to travel the world, just do it. And then people are like, well, what about the money? How are you going to afford to do these things? Right? Well, depending on the lifestyle that you live, you're not going to need very much money. And this was another download that my guides gave me. They said that if we weren't making so many commitments to the matrix or to the system, we would be able to live a lot more free than we do right now. Right now, a lot of people are stressed about paying high mortgages, paying for their expensive luxury cars, paying for a lot of things that are unnecessary to the human. Okay, and my guide said that we are choosing to make all these extra payments, and we're choosing to make our lives way more complicated than they have to be. And the truth of the matter is, the less agreements that we make with the matrix, i.e. the less bills we have to pay, the less things we have to pay for, the more free we will become. And not only the more free we will become, we will be able to do things that we naturally, intuitively want to do. So you might wake up one day and say, you know what, I want to go to the park. I want to be in nature. I want to sun gaze and soak up the sun. And intuitively natural, that is your natural human urge to want to do that. And you're meant to go out and do that. And the problem is that we are so intertwined in this system, in this matrix, that we think as soon as we wake up, we're supposed to go to work. And the only reason why we believe that is because we've made so many agreements with the system to pay for this expensive home, to pay for this luxurious car, to pay for all these things, to pay for our Netflix, our Roku, to pay for our whatever the case may be. We chose to have all of this extraness in our reality. Therefore, we've made all these agreements with the system. Therefore, we feel like we're stuck or cannot be liberated from the system, though we've chose the captivity that we have put ourselves in. So to that man's comment about saying how the next generation is lazy, or they don't want to work hard for what they want. No, they're just aware that, one, they don't have to live with as much stuff as their parents live with. And two, they get to choose the reality they wish to exist in. We all do. If you're watching my video, you get to choose too. So if you're working a job that you don't like, you get to choose something else. But you have to be intelligent enough. You have to be wise enough. You have to be in tune with yourself enough to know what other outcomes or what other opportunities there could possibly be for you. When we incarnate here on earth into this reality, we already have a blueprint encoded in our DNA. Okay, so that means we innately know how our life is supposed to go. We innately know what we're here and what we want to experience. But the thing is, when we don't listen to our urge, to our inner knowing, to this calling, we kind of get splintered off in different directions. And then we say we don't know ourselves. We feel like we're trapped in all these obligations. We're trapped in the job, we're trapped in the relationship, we're trapped in the marriage, we're, you know, acting like we're trapped and we're really not. Okay, we have beliefs that we are playing internally that collectively are creating the lifestyle and reality that we are all living. This is another insight that I got. The guides say that the problem with humans is that we think we can control the God-given resources that are meant to be abundantly available for everybody, okay? So we think that we can own the gas. We put families in charge of owning certain gas companies. We think we can own the water. We've divided the waterways amongst the countries. We think we can own the land, right? We just think we can own all these things that are natural resources to Earth. And Earth is saying, I've given you this, I've given everyone this, and it's for everybody, it's for everyone. Okay, the trees, the air, the water, these are natural resources that we need to survive, and they're here in abundance for everybody, right? You need to build a house, there are trees, okay? You need materials to make things, it's all here. There's nothing here that has not been given. Again, the problem is that the humans think that they can control the resources that are meant to be here for everyone. We are just so I need to make a profit. I want to make a profit. I want to make a profit, right? I'm going to own the trees and sell the wood so I can make a profit. I'm going to own the water and bottle it up and sell it so I can make a profit. I'm going to, you know, God forbid in the future, I'm going to own the fresh oxygen and start charging people for clean air to breathe. Like, this is the insanity that... This is the reality that these people want to live in. The people that want to, you know, own all these things, right? Even like the food, right? The food is here and in abundance and it's here for all of us, but they have the audacity to tell us that there's going to be a food shortage. The only shortage of food that there is going to be is a shortage of fake food in the supermarkets, right? All of the natural real food that we need is here. We can plant trees, okay? The water is here. The resources are here. Again, the problem is that humans think that they can control and divvy out the things that are meant to be free for everybody. And because we've bought into this system, or this understanding that we have to play by these rules to get our needs met, that is why, that is the programming, and that is the root of our suffering, okay? Because we were meant to be free. We're meant to experience freedom, right? And again, okay, so my guides were telling me this also. The reason that all this is happening is because we have lower consciousness humans who are in control of these resources. And I'm calling them lower consciousness because people who are of high consciousness understand that you cannot take any of this with you when you die. And the reason why the lower consciousness beings are trying to, you know, do all these things, enslave all these people, make them think that we need these systems so that we can survive when we really don't. They are lower consciousness, okay? And not only are they lower consciousness, they are newer consciousness, okay? So the older souls that have been here for generation after generation after generation after generation, there are some of us, you know, people say, oh, she's an old soul or he's an old soul. That means that his soul or his spirit has journeyed to earth, not just once, but on multiple times. They've experienced multiple lifetimes here. And typically those people who are old souls, they're very compassionate to others. They're very compassionate to the world around them. They're very compassionate to humanity, because they've been here before. They've experienced this already before, okay? So, again, this isn't going to resonate with everybody, but this is just, maybe I'll make a completely separate video about this, but my guide said that, so a lot of the melanated people that are here, that those are the bodies that the old souls are incarnating into. And a lot of the unmelanated people, Caucasian people, that, you know, those types of people, again, not being racist, not being racy or anything like that. I love all people. This is just a download I received. These are new consciousness beings. These are a newer wave of people, okay? So the melanated people who have been here and they've come back to Earth again and again and again and again and again and again. Why? Because there are missions taking place on Earth. There are things that are accomplished on Earth. Earth is the 3D arena. This is where we see beliefs, ideologies, and principalities at play on the 3D realm. There are very few other places in the galaxy that is like Earth, because in Earth, we choose to incarnate here in human bodies so that we can play out certain beliefs, ideologies, and principalities, okay? So again, when they say that we fight not against flesh and blood, but principalities, when they're talking about spiritual warfare, yes, it's spiritual warfare because we use these bodies to interact with each other on a spirit, in a spiritual way. Okay, so said all this to say, yes, the white people are Caucasian people, and I'm not saying all of them are newer souls or newer consciousness, but I do believe they are a newer species, okay? And they are being integrated into this reality, right? So you'll notice that in their upbringing, or in, you know, in the start of them being here on this planet, there was a lot of war, a lot of bloodshed. There were, you know, the crusades over religion, crusades over trying to own land, own property, own the waterways, right? They're at war over these things. Why? Because they're newer consciousness. They don't understand that the land is for everyone. They don't understand the water is for everyone. They don't understand that, you know, they don't understand these things. I'm not saying everybody doesn't understand these things. I'm saying look evolutionarily at what has taken place in the world, okay? Think about even slavery, right? And this is a huge thing that went on for me. We all are like, how could they let slavery happen? How could we let slavery happen? How could that even happen? How? And it's because these newer beings, lower consciousness beings, and I'm saying they're lower consciousness because, again, if you are new, your soul has not had time to journey to this plane again and again and again and again to wrap up all the knowledge and insight that you need so that you can be compassionate to others, so that you can know that the earth belongs to everyone and we don't have to hoard and charge each other for the resources and all this, right? So they were a newer consciousness being integrated into our civilization. And we know this because in the very beginning, who was it who was educating these people? It was black people. It was melanated people, teaching them about astrology and teaching them about farming and teaching them about building houses and teaching them about, you know, building civilization, irrigation, all of these things. It was black people who taught this to white people, okay? And they kind of took this information and they got to a point where they were like, okay, we can own stuff here. We have accumulated enough knowledge now to where we can use the knowledge that we've received and we can own stuff here. We see that these melanated people are, you know, living in harmony with the earth and with nature and with all this stuff. But we want to own it. We want to keep it for ourselves. We want to hoard it. Again, not saying this is all Caucasian people's mentality, but I'm saying, evolutionarily speaking, a person who is high in consciousness, are they going to try to enslave another person who is exactly like them? No, they will not. Because they will see the divinity and the God consciousness in everyone and everything. And that's how the old melanated people were. They understood the divinity in nature. They understood the divinity of each other. They understood that God existed in each other. They understood that God existed in the plants and in the animals. God existed everywhere. And that's why they had so much love and compassion for each other. Okay? So they were not trying to enslave each other, contrary to what, what the history says, right? We were not trying to enslave each other. We were evolved consciously, and we understood that we could live together in harmony with nature and with each other, okay? When the newer species of people came to Earth, they're like babies, they're like toddlers, okay, experiencing reality for the first time. Okay, you know how they say that they believe that evolution, they came from caveman, they came from Neanderthals? Because for some of them that really is true. Okay, and the higher consciousness beings who were on Earth at that time had to educate the babies or the newer consciousness. So here's the problem. Here's why we have all these issues in our society right now. Because we are letting our society be ran by the newer consciousness, basically the babies of humanity right now. We're letting the babies of humanity raise us, make laws, create government, create the rules, create systems, okay? And that is why we are living in a very lower devolved reality than we should be, because we are letting the babies of our society, we're letting the babies of humanity right now, i.e. the newer species, and we know that they are the newer species. Can we just talk a little bit about science right now? Can we talk a little bit about genetics right now? I'm not going to turn anybody off if we talk about this right now. Melanated people have been here the longest. And why? How do we know this? Right? Because, okay, so you know how when they talk about evolution, they say that people are darker now because of evolution, because the sun eventually, whatever. No, Black people were here first, okay? And where was I going with that? Sorry, guys, I had a brain fart. Yes, okay, let's just talk about genetics, right? If all life really did start in Africa, that we know to be the hottest place, in our world, right? The heat is hot, the sun is on, okay, in Africa. Caucasian people could not exist in these conditions, okay? So again, I have love for my Caucasian brothers and sisters, but we need to know what it is, okay? So they are the newer species, and we know this because this also went off in my head. Okay, here's the significance of why we still need this newer species. We don't have to be mad at them. We don't have to go to war with them. There, once upon a time, melanated people were a new species, right? When the Titans or the gods came down and were mating with the humans, that's a story for another day, right? But there was a time where the melanated people were the babies, or the newer consciousness of society, and we had to go through our own trials and tribulations. We had to get to a point where we understood how to be one with nature and how to be one with each other. I'm not saying that didn't happen, okay? It happened. So now where are we going with this now? We need to readapt the old way of doing things, okay? Think about how indigenous melanated people were living before all the indoctrination. They were free to go where they wanted to go, when they wanted to do it, right? People had trades, they had talents, they had gifts, okay? Some people were good building houses out of timber. Some people were good at farming the land. Some people were good at, they were talented. They were good at singing and making art, right? We all had different talents, right? And back in the day, we all were allowed to express our talents. There was no school to tell you, you have to be a plumber, you have to be a teacher, you have to be whatever. People grew up and intuitively found themselves, right? Maybe they were using sticks and drawing in the sand and they're like, hey, I'm good at this, I'm gonna be an artist. Or maybe they were, you know, it doesn't matter. Maybe they were sitting at the creek and watching the fish go by and they had a great idea on how they can catch fish quickly for their tribe, right? People did what they wanted to do and they built their gifts and talents based off of what they were good at, what they loved, and what value they brought to their side, to their tribe, to their society. Okay, that was the old way of doing things. So why am I saying this now? That is how it can be now, and that is how it is supposed to be now, okay? We are supposed to intuitively feel through our lives, intuitively do things that spark interest and passion in us, find ourselves in doing those activities, and then offer those activities to the world, to everybody. That is how it's supposed to be, okay? So, yeah, why did I bring up the thing about the newer consciousness spirit, or the new way that we're doing things, right? The way that we're doing things now, the matrix has been hijacked. It's been hijacked by lower consciousness entities. And why am I calling them lower consciousness? Because they are not evolved. Evolved species have compassion and love for everybody. They are concerned about the greater good of humanity, the greater good of Earth, okay? These lower dimensional creatures who are in charge of these big corporations and doing all these things, hoarding up the land, hoarding up the resources, making people believe that we need these systems that they are putting in place. They are the problem. And until people wake up to their divinity, wake up to the ancient consciousness that is locked in their DNA, until people wake up to that, we are going to keep repeating these cycles. Now, we are in the age of Aquarius. Things are becoming enlightened. We are becoming enlightened. We are becoming aware that things were the way that they were, right? Again, going back to that conversation I had with that man at the park, how he said the new generation's so lazy, blah, blah, blah. Again, we're not lazy. We are becoming aware and awakened to the real way that life is supposed to be. We are aware that we're supposed to be free. We are aware that we're supposed to be able to have the choice to do what we want. We are aware that paying all of this money into this system is only keeping us trapped here, and there is another way to do all of this. There is a better way to do all of this, in a way that we all get to win and we all don't have to be trapped by these systems, okay? Said all that to say that we need to go back to the old way of doing this, the more evolved conscious way of doing this. And last thing, the significance of these newer beings coming into our society is supposed to happen, okay? White people are supposed to be here. Black people are supposed to be here. Asian people are supposed to be here. Mexican people are supposed to be here. We are all supposed to be here, okay? I've got love in my heart for all of us. We're all supposed to be here. And as the new wave of people come, so you know how I said like the white people are the newest wave of people, they are coming, and they're coming to bring new insight, new downloads, new things that we didn't know before, right? And maybe they came and they did teach us how to be industrial, and they did teach us how to mass produce things, and they did teach us how to, you know, they came with their contributions. They did, right? But we're not going to negate the fact that our people had amazing, incredible contributions too. In fact, most of the inventions that we have right now are thanks to our people, right? So we all have something of value to offer, right? Even how, you know, so how I said that the white people are like a newer species of people that have been thrown into the mix, right? Also, like, think about like the gay community, the LGBTQ, QRX, TUZ, all the initials, right? They are a new species of people too, right? And they've always been here. They've always popped up, and you know, and I'm not saying I'm for or against, how you feel is how you feel. If you're a woman and you love a woman, that's how you feel. If you're a man and you love a man, that's how you feel. I know there's room for all of us. And I know there are going to be people who are like, no, we can't accept that. We can't allow that, blah, 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 blah. Listen, people are going to be who they're going to be. And you don't have to be okay with it, but you gotta let people do what they're gonna do. Because again, these might be a new species or a new wave of people. Even like the people who are like, I'm non-binary, please don't call me he, please don't call me she, these are my pronouns, they, whatever, like those are a new wave of people also, okay? The Andromedans, right? Or there are people there are like galaxies or systems where people don't have genders, right? There are no gender roles. People are androgynous, right? That's a new wave of people. People who are like in the middle, like I don't know if I'm male, I don't know if I'm female, or even like hermaphrodites, like people, these are people who are born naturally into our society who have both parts, a penis and a vagina. That's a new wave of people too, okay? What is the point of all of this? The point of all of this is we come to the earth arena to be okay with each other, to have love and compassion with each other. Do you guys remember when they had just like abolished slavery and the white people were like, starting to integrate with the black people, and they had the civil rights movement and the separate but equal and all that stuff? That was the newer people learning to be okay with the older people who were already here, okay? And yeah, they were in fear consciousness. They were very, 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 very dehydrated. They thought they had to own people, control people to get their needs met. That's lower consciousness, right? But they are slowly rising out of that way of being. They're slowly becoming aware of the fact that we are all equal and that we all are allowed to be here and that it's okay and that all of our needs are going to get met even though we're all here together. So yeah, I really believe that's why all the turmoil and things like that were happening. Even the wars going on like in the Middle East and stuff like that, like those are a newer wave of people, and they're going through what they're going through is because, again, the earth is the 3D arena. We're seeing spiritual things play out on the 3D realm here, but they've already been a thing. They've already been in question. They've already been beliefs, patterns, and principalities that have been lingering in the ethers, lingering in the cosmos. Again, these energies are coming down to earth, and we are experiencing all this stuff because we are transmuting and going through the motions within our body, through each other. Okay, so like the wars right now going on in the Middle East and things like that, they think they have to go at war with each other, when really they probably deep down believe in the same things, do the same things, want the same things, right? So we need to stop going to war with each other and realize that we are all going to get our needs met, and we need to stop hoarding the resources, and we need to go back to that higher state of consciousness that has compassion and love for all, and we're all going to get our needs met. Okay, so this video was kind of all over the place, but there are definitely lots of downloads and gems in this video. I really would love to hear what you guys think about this topic. Did anything turn online for you? Did you get any downloads or light bulbs or insight from this transmission? And yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you in my next video.